Yo, what's up, good people? It's your girl Mia. Jesus is showing out, so the doctor is in. Hello, hello, hello. Yo, I'm sick of this t-shirt. So, man, a lot, a lot. So, I'm probably gonna lose some viewers on this one, and it's cool. It is what it is, cause that's just the type of journey we on. We on this faith walk. We on this discovery walk. This faith walk is really turning into a discovery walk, okay? Cause I now realize for the last maybe, what's this, 2025, almost 3.5 years, the Lord has had me on this purging journey. Man, this what I say, or should I say, stronghold breaking journey, right? So, first stronghold that was broken was, nope, I can't even say it was broken. Because I was very weak. Actually, this has been longer than that. So, first was the desire to want to be caged, right? I started going to the Israel God when I was 12. And, that kind of conformed me to only dealing with a certain population of people, right? And although, the Bible says, be careful who you're around, right? If the very people that the Bible is talking about are where you're learning about the Bible, it's kind of hard for you to discern, right? Because you're being taught to not be around the people who are telling you to not be around these people. Does that make sense? And it wasn't until I wasn't allowed to be around them people because of the pandemic for a long time that I was able to see them for who they were after the pandemic was over. And again, this is not a shot, because we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places, right? And because I know how intense that spiritual wickedness is, and I am still yet mastering spiritual warfare and discernment, but I can honestly and wholeheartedly say that a lot of the spiritual wickedness that I encountered, they have no idea that it's them. And, my reflection and my mercy in that is I didn't know it was me either. Because when you're being taught and surrounded by what you're told to not be around, it's hard to see that that's what, you get what I'm saying? It's kind of like being in a relationship with a man that only wants you for sex, or a woman that only wants you for sex, and they telling you don't nobody want you other than me. They just want you for sex. The spirit can't lie, but the vessel can deceive. That's what I learned. The spirit can't lie, but the vessel can deceive. So even though the spirit is saying, nobody wants you but sex. No, the vessel is saying nobody wants you other than sex. The Lord is telling you through that person, this is all they want you for. That I learned from breaking free from brick and mortar faith and spiritual development. Now, education. That one I'm still breaking free from. But, how to be a daughter, a lot of times we tend to emulate or follow after our parents, good, bad, and no matter what it is, we tend to follow after them because that's all we see, right? That's who we were around most of the time, and school stuff, like as a student. So whoever you were around as a kid, those tend to be the way those tend to be the characteristics that you develop. It's not until you have your chosen conversation with God, or your called conversation with God, or you can say when you answer the phone for God, right? When he calls you, that you realize that was what they was talking about in that Proverbs 3, where, I mean, not Proverbs 3, but in Proverbs, it says somewhere in Proverbs, it talks about how if you seek the Lord for knowledge and understanding, he'll give it to you, right? And really, like, seek him. You know what I'm saying? Really seek him. I learned that we choose what we take from the lessons that we learn instead of letting God determine our understanding of the lesson, right? Because the good and the bad, you're supposed to take both. Because one is for discernment, the other one is for character building, right? So the positive is for character building. The evil is for you to be able to discern when that similar spirit that made you feel those things in Galatians 5 shows up later on a different vessel. You'll be able to identify it. Come on, walk with me. I know I was stumbling a little bit getting started, but I'm a little rusty because it's been a crazy couple weeks. So that's what I learned with my family, my mom, because nobody's perfect. If anybody was perfect, why would we need God? So that's the mistake we make when we cut people off. And I'm not saying don't, because I'm getting to that next. But that's the mistake we make when we cut people off in retaliation and anger as opposed to a mission completed. And I'm going to get to that. Now, education. That's where I really learned about systems of control, right? Because they want to control how you teach, what you teach, when you teach, who you teach, where you teach. They want to control everything, and eventually it starts to control you teaching and you as a teacher. And what you're allowed to teach, right? So, needless to say, that's not gonna be a thing. And to be honest, I was supposed to walk away from it a long time ago, but every time the Lord tried me, I wasn't ready. So then, but I've always been a student. Always. I've always been a student and a leader, and a teacher, but I'm not supposed to be a teacher of worldly things. I'm supposed to be a teacher of ministry. But we're going to keep moving. So make sure that, you making sure that whatever God, because if God gave you something to do for his children, because keep in mind, all this stuff, these industries and things that were created by man, it was not so in the beginning. It wasn't. These are all systems of control. But I digress. So, we're not in education. We're not at a brick and mortar ministry. And we no longer desire to build a school. So where are we? Well, we are at the mercy of the Lord. It's not a bad place to be, but it's a very blind faith place to be. Because what I realized is distractions come the heaviest when you're about to realize how free you actually are to operate in the fruits of the Spirit and the gift and the work that the Lord has built within you. So, to be continued. But the short of the short is, I meant what I said. Ain't no niching down for me or you. Let him provide the increase in you